What is good, everybody? Welcome back to the TheVaultProScooters. Today, you guys are joining me for another episode of What's New in Scootering. This is the series, of course, where I highlight and showcase all of the recently released product here in the pro scooter world, and there's been a lot of new product that has come out. But in today's episode, we are going to be focusing on all of the new Lucky product. So grab a snack and let's hop into this episode of What's New in Scootering. If you guys don't know, Lucky released their entire new line, so they have a ton of new completes, a lot of new signature products, and they also introduced some new colors and products that have already come out. First up is the new color in the Vice grips. The Vice 2.0 grips. These are the new versions. This color right here is Rush. So if you guys are a fan of Lucky wheels, they had a wheel come out that was called Rush, and they have a lot of new stuff called Rush, but this ties into the teal and pink color scheme that Rush is. This is the same beloved Lucky 2.0 Vice grip that you guys will get if you have purchased any of their new completes. However, this is a new colorway. I'm a big fan of this one. It's very loud. These guys also now come in white, pretty much to match whatever you guys might have that's white. I know there's not a lot of white scooter parts out there, but Lucky's got you covered. These new grips were introduced on the Cody Flom complete. More on that later. But other than that, Lucky 2.0 Vice grips, you guys can pick these up here at the Vault for 15 bucks for a pair. They're 6 inches long, fairly in between thick and soft grip. Very comfortable straight out of the box, and would highly recommend. So links down below. All right, moving on, we're gonna be taking a look at the 2022 version of the Prospect deck. So there has been some minor tweaks and changes to this deck, but not too much, other than a lot of sick new colors. Spec-wise for the Prospect 2022 deck, you're looking at 19.5 inches long by 4.8 inches wide. The 2022 Prospect comes with an 82.5 degree head tube angle. Included is 4 degrees of concave. For those of you guys who don't know what concave is essentially where the deck starts to dip down here in the middle, similar to a skateboard. What that does is give certain riders a little bit more feel for the deck, a little bit more comfort on the deck. Included in the box with your Prospect deck, you do get a sheet of grip tape. It's not installed, but you do get free grip tape. You also get your rear axle, your spacers, and your 110mm Lucky Steely brake. So you guys will be good to go straight out of the box. You won't even need grip tape. You guys can just throw it on and get riding. The Lucky 2022 Prospect deck comes in at 2.7 pounds. 2.7 pounds. That is insane. The Prospect deck was already one of the most underrated lightweight decks in my opinion. 2.7 pounds is crazy light. It's not the biggest deck, but it's definitely one of the lightest decks, and if you prefer these dimensions, you should definitely take a look at the Prospect. And last but not least, for the Lucky 2022 Prospect deck, it is available in 4 colors. Obviously here in front of me, we have Oil Slick, and unfortunately at the time of filming this video, we are sold out of the other colors. So while we wait for our shipment, I will show you guys what the colors look like here on the screen. First up is Onyx, next up is Recoil, the third colorway is Vegas, and finally the last color is of course Oil Slick. So you guys can see the whole deck is Oil Slick. It's got a really cool graphic here on the bottom and going down the edge of the deck as well. You can see the same pattern here on the side of the head tube. So those are the 4 colors that the Prospect deck is available in. You guys know all the specs. If you guys are interested, check that link down below. Moving on. Alrighty, while we're on the hype train of decks, let's move on to the brand new Lucky 2022 Covenant deck. Here it is in front of me. As you guys can see, this is a matte raw colorway. This deck does feature some changes compared to the last year's, and honestly, it does look a bit different. It looks a little bit more updated, especially here on the front end. One cool thing to note here is that the Covenant deck actually features a fully squared blunt plate, which is, I believe, the first time Lucky has done that. You can see there's plenty, and I mean plenty of room for blunt slides. Moving here on the back, you can see that's also squared here, which means obviously 5.0 grinds and 50s are going to be really easy to lock into. I'm hyped that Lucky is finally doing that, especially for their slightly larger decks. Covenant is moving up in size as well. Spec-wise, you're looking at 20.5 inches long by 4.8 inches wide. When it comes to the head tube angle, you're looking at 82.5 degrees as well, pretty much across the board for a majority of Lucky decks. Taking a look at the bottom of the Covenant deck, you can see it's pretty similar to the Prospect. You have your pattern here in the middle, the name of the deck here on the side. You're not gonna be running into any issues locking into board slides or slipping out, since this deck is primarily flat on the bottom. When it comes to weight, the Covenant V2 comes in at 3.2 pounds, so still an incredibly light deck. This is not the biggest deck in the world, but for Lucky standards, 3.2 pounds, and I would honestly just say in like scooter standards right now, 3.2 pounds for a deck is still incredibly light. So shout out to Lucky for doing it. Covenant 2022 comes in brushed raw which is what I'm holding right here. And it also comes in an oil slick. So just like the Prospect, comes in that neochrome oil slick color that all of you guys love. Alrighty, that is it for the Covenant deck. Now we've made our way through the normal lucky decks, I think it's time that we can finally move into the signature lucky decks. First up, the beast from the east himself, fourth signature deck from our boy JonMarco Gatos, one of the best scooter riders in the world. First impressions, I love that it's white. Once again, there's not a lot of white scooter parts out there, so the fact that this is a signature deck and it's white, really sick. Before we take a look at the graphic and stuff like that, let's dive into the specs of JonMarco's fourth signature deck. You're looking at 19.5 inches long by 4.5 inches wide. Of course, you still have the same 82.5 degree head tube angle as all the other lucky decks. Wheel compatibility is exactly the same as well. And the weight of the JonMarco V4 deck is 2.7 pounds, just like the Prospect deck, because it's a Prospect deck and it's the same size. So one of the lightest decks on the market, and you have these insane signature graphics. Taking a look at his graphic here, obviously you guys can see there's a girl here holding the world, it's got the money in her eyes, of course, the lucky crown. You see his name right here, JonMarco Gatos, and all the gold on this deck is holographic, just like your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh cards. On the side of the deck, you have the chain, and it is being broken here. It says, grateful, thankful, blessed. Facts. I'm putting that on the wall. Either way, really, really cool graphic. I love the white, the gold pops, and here on the side of the head tube, you guys can see it also says his name with the gold chains being broken. I love the iteration of the chains. Super sick. Oh, last but not least, JonMarco's deck does come with some new grip tape, obviously personalized to match his deck. Here at the top, you have the crown, JonMarco Gatos, and it says Gatos here, very faintly in gray. Some gritty, lucky grip tape for you. We did cover all of the new lucky signature wheels in a previous episode, so if you guys have not seen that episode, be sure to click that card right there. Would you guys believe your eyes? Another white deck. This right here is Jayden Sharman's second signature deck, one of the funniest dudes out there. And I'm so hyped for him to finally have his second signature deck. And I'm really hyped that he also switched it up completely from his first one. So spec-wise, it is the same as JonMarco's specs. So 4.5 by 19.5 inches long, 82.5 degree head tube angle, 2.7 pounds. If we take a look at the bottom of Jayden's deck, this is where you can see the graphic really shine. You can see you have Jayden here, or the anonymous Jayden. You only know it's him because of his infamous glasses. And it says Jayden Sharman here. I love the font, love the color, as well as the just overall design. On the side of the deck, you have the same graphic of Jayden here peeking up. His name here as well. I like that on the head tube, it just has the clover with his signature. Very nice touch for a signature deck. So Jayden's deck comes with a sheet of white lucky grip tape, which is super cool. You can see you have his logo here and his signature. So you guys can throw this on right when you get it. Just fully support Jayden off the rip. All right, finally, we're moving on to the last signature lucky deck in this video, which is no other than Cody Flom's fourth signature deck as well. So that means that Cody and JonMarco are both on their fourth signature decks, which is just crazy. Shout out to all of you guys that have supported them. So this deck is a Prospect deck as well. However, his fourth deck is a little bit different. Cody actually bumped up in size with this deck. You're looking at 20.5 inches long instead of 19.5, and you're also looking at 4.8 inches wide instead of the 4.5 like the previous ones. So slightly bigger, not too much, but of course it's just gonna give Cody a little bit more foot space and comfort when he is doing what Cody Flom does best. Weight-wise, you're looking at just under 3 pounds for the Cody Flom V4 deck. 2 pounds, 14 ounces. Of course, the rest of the specs are the same. 82.5 degree head tube angle and all that. Let's talk about the graphic. You guys can see it says Cody Flom here in this really cool matte blue camo design. If you guys know Cody Flom, he always has a Bible verse on his products. So here you have 2 Timothy 2:4. It also says it here on the side of the deck. While we're on the side of the deck, you guys can see it also has the camouflage pattern going all the way down the side rails, which is really nice. On the head tube, you also have the camouflage pattern. However, on this side, it actually says Cody Flom's name there, just so you guys can have that. When we talk about color for Cody Flom's fourth deck, this is actually a matte anodized blue. Last but not least, this is the grip tape that you guys will get if you buy Cody's deck. Obviously it has Conquer, Cody's brand here, and his name with Lucky and the logo that they brought up. Alrighty, well that's it for small parts for Lucky. I think it's time we can move into their all new completes. First things first, we got a brand new Recruit. The Recruit is Lucky's entry-level, smaller scooter for your brother that might be getting into it at a younger age, or just for any rider that might be a tad bit smaller. The new Recruit comes with a 17-inch long by 4.5-inch wide deck. The Recruit deck also does have an 82.5-degree head tube angle. It comes with a different Lucky brake. This is not a Steely brake. This is a different brake, I believe, that is specific to the Recruit. You guys can see it's just a nice smooth brake instead of the Steely that features the Lucky logo here on the top. As of right now, it does look like the brake on here can only fit up to 110mm wheels. You might be able to squeeze 120 in there, but I don't think so. Moving on to the front, you guys can see here at the fork, this is just Lucky's standard new HIC fork. Nothing too crazy, just a nice cost-efficient fork to throw on this scooter. Moving on to the clamp, nothing too fancy as well, just a standard Lucky double clamp. Once again, trying to keep the cost of the scooter relatively low just for new riders getting into the sport that might want to pick one up. Taking a look at the bar for the Lucky Recruit, this is just your standard Lucky kink bar. However, it is smaller to match the size of the scooter. You're looking at 20 inches tall by 18 inches wide, and last but not least, these are just Lucky 2.0 vice grips in red on this specific one, but really ties into this whole scooter nicely. Oh, I forgot to talk about the wheels. These are also a new Lucky product. These are just some standard hollow core Lucky wheels, probably Lunars as well, but just black on blue and black on red to tie into the color scheme. These do come 110mm by 24mm, have some Lucky speed bearings in there too. Let's take a look at all the graphics and stuff. As you can see, it says Recruit here in this really cool graffiti font, transitioning from blue to red, contrasting nicely with one another. On the side of the deck, it also says Recruit here, and just tying into that whole graffiti aspect all the way down the deck. On the front, you have the Lucky Clover logo, some more graffiti in there, and other than that, I think that's really it. The Recruit comes in at $130 here in the US to buy one. 130 bucks for a scooter of this quality and size is honestly a great deal. Lucky has been in the game for as many years as I can remember, and when it comes to producing high quality parts, they definitely know what they're doing. I honestly just recommend this scooter for any rider out there that is a bit smaller, that needs to get a new complete, or if you guys have a sibling or a cousin or somebody who just needs something a bit smaller. The Recruit is gonna get the job done perfectly. I'm hyped to see more mini scooters being introduced to the pro scooter world. Okay, so the Recruit does come in two colors. Obviously you have blue and red, like this one here, and you also have teal and black, my personal favorite of the two. The whole scooter is exactly the same, the logos are the same, the graphics are the same, the only difference is the color. So you have the teal to black fade deck, you have teal on black wheels, and of course you have the teal and black Lucky Vice 2.0 grips. Shout out to the Recruit, shout out to Lucky. Really hyped that this thing's here. All right, moving on. And we're gonna be taking a look at the Prospect XL Complete. This is a complete that I'm really hyped to see, and I know certain riders are, specifically Nolan Shoemaker. If you guys don't know, Nolan rides for Lucky now. This is the deck that he is riding. So if you guys have been wondering, what deck does Nolan ride? It is this one right here. Either way, what we're looking at is the Prospect XL Complete, essentially a sized up version of the Prospect scooter. And this guy right here is aimed more for the street side of scootering. So it obviously comes with a bigger deck and a bigger bar, hence the XL in the name. Let's dive into the specs of the Prospect XL. First up, the deck. 5.3 inches wide. 5.3 inches wide. That's what I'm talking about, Lucky. Finally entering that game. You have a deck that is competing with the sizes that most of these other brands have now, and I am so hyped that it's on a complete. This deck is sold individually, so if you guys want to buy the deck, it'll be linked down below. 5.3 inches wide by 22 inches long. Can you guys guess the head tube angle? It's 82.5, because all the Lucky decks are 82.5. Taking a look at the back end of the deck, this is where you guys can see the evolution of the Prospect deck. Lucky is now offering fully squared dropouts with nylon inserts to prevent the deck from caving in. Either way, this is a big stepping stone for Lucky to push this complete more towards the street market, which is super cool, but don't let that stray you away if you aren't a street rider. It's still incredibly light and easy to throw around. Because it's a Lucky product, it's just cool that it's made more for riders like that. Moving on to the wheels, these are Lucky Lunar hollow core wheels, 120 by 24 millimeters, black on black. They say Prospect XL here on the center of the core, which is super cool. The black on black look is super sleek, and I'm a big fan that they bumped up to 120s on here just to make the scooter feel a bit more proportional. As we move our way towards the front of the scooter, you guys can see the Lucky IHG Huracan fork is included on the Prospect XL, as well as the aftermarket double clamp. You guys can purchase either of these aftermarket if you'd like. Lucky Revo integrated headset. You guys can also buy one of these aftermarket if you want. Moving on to the bar, this is a Lucky Prospect bar. The gussets on this bar are very unique and and one of a kind, really letting the bar stand out from a lot of the other ones on the market right now. These guys are aluminum and they come 26 inches tall by 24 inches wide. Since they are aluminum, you are running IHC compression, like I mentioned with the fork. Just take that into account if you guys buy this and want to expand later. And finally, you have Lucky 2.0 vice grips here on the top to ensure a nice and comfortable ride wherever you guys go on this thing. There's not a lot of logos on this deck. I feel like they went very minimal because, you know, honestly, with a complete like this, it's probably the best bet. You have Prospect XL here on the center. On the side of the deck, it says Prospect in chrome. XL here on the top in chrome. Other than that, there's not much more. It just has very subtle XL Prospect branding here and there. And of course, Lucky's logo as well, but big fan of this. So the Prospect XL Complete comes in at 7 pounds. So like I said, it is not a hard complete to throw around if you guys aren't a street rider. If you want to just buy this complete because you want something bigger to ride around the skate park, don't be afraid. And if you guys want something to go tackle that 8 rail down the street, this guy's gonna hold up. In case any of you guys are wondering at home, the Prospect XL Complete is 250 bucks, and honestly, quite the bang for the buck if I say so myself. All right, if you guys liked JonMarco's deck, you're definitely gonna be a fan of this complete. This right here is JonMarco Gato's second signature pro scooter. So there's a lot of white on this scooter and I'm a big fan. Either way, this is obviously the same deck that we just took a look at. So the 4th iteration of JonMarco's deck, but on the 2nd iteration of his signature scooter. This is honestly one of the coolest completes I've ever seen. Just aesthetically, it is so beautiful. Quickly running through the specs of the JonMarco complete, you have the same deck, so 4.5 inches wide by 19.5 inches long. The bar on JonMarco's complete is the Lucky gusseted bar, and this guy comes 24 inches tall by 23 inches wide. It is aluminum, meaning that, of course, this complete is running the IHC Huracan fork, just like the Prospect XL. This is a cool little Easter egg. This is a gold Lucky Revo headset, and from my knowledge, this is exclusive to this complete. Clamp on the JonMarco complete, same Lucky double clamp as the Prospect XL as well, however, comes in white. As we move down to the front of the scooter, these are JonMarco's new signature wheel as well. I'm not gonna dive into it too much just because we already covered those in another episode, but you can see that they tie into the deck perfectly. They have the gold graphics here on the pad print and the crowns in the core, just perfect signature wheel for such a talented rider. As for grips on JonMarco's complete, you're gonna get black and white Vice 2.0 grips, and grip tape wise, you get the same grip tape that you get with this deck. Same graphic on the bottom, same graphic all around. Just honestly one of the most beautiful completes I've ever seen. Wait, get it? Pun intended. This thing weighs 7 pounds. Very light. I'm sure I've said that a lot this video, but just in case you guys were wondering, 7 pounds. Moving into the last complete that we have from Lucky in today's video, this right here is Cody Flom's brand new signature complete. The colorway is pulled directly from the deck, so you have the same exact deck here on this one. This is the same deck as the one that I just showed you. You guys also will get Cody Flom's new wheels. Not gonna dive into those because those are also in another video. Big fan of Cody Flom's new wheels. I like how they have changed so much over the time, and I like that he ended up going back to the tie-dye urethane just like the first wheel. Shout out to Cody. These ones are honestly probably my favorite. Moving on to the fork, this is an IHC Huracan fork, but this one comes in white. So you can see that the clamp and the fork match in the white. One big difference from Cody's complete and John's complete is the clamp. We put the two side by side, so you guys can see that the clamps are just slightly different, but honestly, at first glance, you probably wouldn't have even known. Moving on up to the bar on Cody's complete, this is another Lucky gusseted aluminum bar, coming 24 inches tall by 23 inches wide, same as John's complete, and it is aluminum, so that is why you're riding IHC compression, but you do get the white Lucky Vice V2 grips. White grips, white fork, white clamp, beautiful blue deck, just an overall beautiful complete. The second Cody Flom complete does come in just a tad bit more than the JonMarco when it comes to weight, so just a tad over 7 pounds overall for this scooter. And price wise, you're looking at 250 bucks USD for this guy. Honestly worth every penny. Whew, alrighty, well, we have made it through all of the new product from Lucky. If you guys are interested in anything that we just talked about, all of the links will be down below, but we have some new stuff from Addict and showcasing all of Tilt Life's new stuff, including the formula deck and much more.